Hi friends, my name is McKay. I am an art teacher. I live in Brooklyn, New York. I work in the Bronx at a middle school. Um, as of right now, schools are closed. Everybody's in quarantine or isolation because we are in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. As I was surfing around social media idly yesterday, I, of course, seeing a very similar theme of everybody's bored and stir crazy and need something to do, and they're very stressed out and they're very scared. So I had the idea to start posting art videos. My personal students are going to be transitioning to online learning very soon, and so that will help them. But I also I would like to hopefully help people focus their energy someplace as well. I plan on having a number of different types of videos that are going to be sort of geared toward honing technical skills or honing creativity, or in some cases, just having a place to focus your energy. That having been said, whatever I post, if you get 2 minutes into it and you're not enjoying it, oh my God, please switch. Be very, very kind and gentle with yourself right now. Everybody's stressed out. Don't do anything that's going to make you more stressed. Sometimes that means putting it down and coming back later. Sometimes that means ripping it up and throwing it on the fire. Sometimes that means that you need to try a different approach with somebody else. My feelings will not be hurt, but I am planning on continuing to post stuff as I can. I hope to improve my video making skills quite a bit. This is obviously really, really rough. I am not an Instagram model. I am not a professional housekeeper. My dog is somewhere around here, and I guarantee at some point he's going to come over and sniff my face. It happens. So also be very, very gentle with me as I learn how to do this. I have some video equipment coming in later in the week from Amazon. But people are bored now, so this may be rough, but we're going to do what we can with it. Anyway, that having been said, first video that I am posting is something called Zentangles. This is actually usually the first assignment of the year that I give my students. This is a Zentangle. So there are many different styles of Zentangles that you can make. There are all sorts of online resources to create these. My way is not the only way, but I am going to give you the basics of it. So, step one. Right. The things you need for your Zentangle are pretty basic. You need a flat surface. I'm using a clipboard for the purposes of this video, but I normally just draw on a tablet or on a table. You need a pencil. I am very, very fond of these, the Ticonderoga Blacks. They've got really good erasers. The lead is really soft, so it makes them very blendable, and it's also much easier to erase when you've got a soft lead. You also need paper. This is Strathmore drawing paper, but any paper will do. The original size of this is 9 by 12. I actually folded it in half, so it is 9 by 6. For my first Zentangle, I would not recommend that you use anything too large just because they are very process heavy and you may get bored and want to quit. So start small. You can always do one bigger later on. The other thing that you need is some kind of ink. If you want to create color, you can create color. If you're fond of black and white, then you can use Sharpie or any kind of pen really is fine. This was a gift from my best friend for Christmas. Hi, April. But the basics are very, very simple. You need to have what's called a string. All that is breaking your paper up into smaller parts. Now, for the first one that I made, I used circles. Okay? So I didn't use a template. I just started drawing circles. Trust me, these are going to be so busy by the end that it will not matter whether your circles are perfect or not. I feel like nobody noticed whether or not my circles were perfect, and if you did, probably you need more to do, so go ahead and do yourself a Zentangle anyway. So I'm not taking up the whole page with this one, but you can. Now the idea is to break this up into parts, but you don't want a billion different parts, okay? I'm going to say that this is enough, and I'm going to stop right here. All right, so that is my string. You can also do a string as a free-form line, so challenge you definitely to let your string touch every part of the page. You can make some straight parts, you can make some curved parts. What I would not do is make a giant scribble. I'll explain why later. Okay, so you have your page divided into parts, you have your page divided into parts. The next thing that you're going to do is start putting patterns into every shape. Now, by shape, I mean something that is completely surrounded by lines. So not just this is a shape, this is a shape, this is a shape, this is a shape. All of these are shapes. So same thing here. This is a shape right here, this is a shape right here, this is a shape right here. All right, so for each shape you have to have a different pattern. You can absolutely repeat patterns if you would like. For my original version, I did not, but the only thing is where there are lines, they cannot touch each other. So you can do the same thing here and here, or in this example here and here, but you can't do it here and here, okay? Because that then messes up the shape that you've created. So there are lots and lots and lots of patterns for Zentangles. For this one, I think I'm going to keep it pretty simple and just do black and white. And I'm going to show you how I create my patterns. You can look up, if you just do a Google search of Zentangle patterns, you can do that. You can also just create your own if you would like. So this is actually one of my favorite patterns that I use over and over and over because I find it really, really calming to do these sort of teardrop shaped patterns over and over and over again. Now, one of the tricks for creating a pattern that looks like it's organically part of the shape is making sure that there are some parts of your pattern that look like they continue on across the lines. So I'm using that line as a stopping point. And I'm going to keep going until I have this whole thing filled up. So you get some spaces in here, and that's okay if you want to color them in. What I tend to do is I pretend that there is a layer underneath the pattern when it's something organic looking like this, and pretend like it continues on in another direction. So I've got this leafy thing. I'm continuing on. And this doesn't have to be an exact science. You can use straight edges if you like, but you don't have to. Sorry, I tend to sing to myself. And it is okay. So see right here, you can kind of tell that I went over the edge of the circle. That's okay. Most of the time it's not totally noticeable because you have all of these patterns. The mistakes just kind of disappear. But you can also say, okay, how can I fix this and make it perfect if you are a perfectionist? So my next pattern could be something really, really dense. So, sorry, coming up with patterns in my head on the fly is a little more difficult than it would seem. Now, I say that any of the spaces between those little zigzags becomes black, and I've magically fixed it. And you never would have known that it was there. Okay. Now, I'm going to go back to my original as an example. One of the things that is challenging with a Zentangle, first of all, is to make sure that you are constantly changing directions. So I have my pattern that goes this way. I kind of got into a thing where everything was kind of going the same direction, so I turned it here. I also have one that's going pretty parallel to the edge of the page over here, and then I turned it for here. All right. The other thing that is important to do is make sure that your areas with solid colors are balanced out with the areas with really sort of sparse patterns. So this would be a sparser pattern, this would be a sparser pattern, but it's balanced out by these two right here. Okay, so make sure you're spreading that out. Making all of the really, really sparse line-heavy patterns tends to make it look really unfinished, and you tend to be able to see mistakes a little more easily that way for some reason. I don't know why. There's probably a term for it, but I'm not going to make you watch me do this entire thing. I am just going to show you how to finish out a piece like this. So you can still see the pencil lines, right? So I'm going to go through and I'm going to erase the pencil lines. You don't have to. There are people who do Zentangles that don't do them. I actually really, really like the effect of not having any lines because it looks like these patterns just arrived in these shapes. It's a fun little trick, but if you don't want to do that, you can also do lines as well. There are not a whole lot of rules to Zentangles. That means that if you break them, that it's not a correct Zentangle. This is art that is purely supposed to be pretty. It is decorative, it is stress relieving. These are incredibly calming to do, to find a pattern and just do this pattern over and over and over again. So, highly recommend this for being bored, being stuck inside, and not feeling especially intellectual. That kind of concludes the end of my first video. I am probably going to finish up the black and white one. I may post at the end, we'll see. I don't know. But Zentangles. Alright folks, so that's how you make a Zentangle. They're a really, really good way to make something that feels pretty and feels creative without frustrating yourself to the point of stressing you out. There are lots and lots and lots of resources online for how to make Zentangles that are more complicated than the one that I put here. There are lots of ways to incorporate Zentangles into other kinds of art. If you like Zentangles, I encourage you to go check those out and maybe create more artwork. I am dying to see anything that gets posted here. Otherwise, enjoy, and I will hopefully see you soon.